Hello everyone, welcome to your Easy Guide to English section series for CLAT examination. And today we'll do our third part of speech, that is adjectives. So let's see what adjectives are. So an adjective is a word that describes or qualifies a noun or pronoun. It tells us more about a person, a place, thing, or an idea. So you can understand an adjective something like a word that answers the questions. For example, what kind, how many, which one, how much. So let's take an example. She wore a red dress. Here, the word dress is the noun which has been described by the word red. So, if you ask the question, what kind of dress? The adjective will answer the question as red dress. What kind of dress is she wearing? She is wearing red dress. He has three dogs. So, if you ask the question, how many dogs? So, the adjective answers that question as three dogs. So, I want that notebook. Which notebook? That notebook. So, adjective answers the questions which notebook, or there is little time. So, adjective answers the question how much? Little time. So, adjectives are the words that answer questions like these. They make the language more interesting and precise. So, without adjective, the language would become very dull. You can just compare. If you were to describe a car and say, I have a car, that's a way to say it. But if you were to say, I have a black, fast, expensive car, this makes your answer, your statement more beautiful and more interesting. So, adjectives are a very important part of speech and they make the language interesting and precise. Now, let's see what are the various types of adjectives. So, the first one is descriptive or qualitative. It describes the quality or the nature of the noun. So, in the statement, she is a brilliant student. What is the nature of student? She's brilliant. The quality of student is her brilliance. So, the word brilliant here is a descriptive adjective that is describing the quality of student. Similarly, quantitative adjective. It describes the amount or the quantity of noun. So I have some milk. So some here tells the the quantity of milk. How much milk do I have? Some milk. So it describes the quantity of noun. Similarly, numeral or numerical adjective. So it tells the number or order. So if the statement says he has two pens, how many pens? Two pens. So the number of pen is being described here. Or she came first. So her order of coming is being described here. So these are the examples of numeral adjectives. Similarly, demonstrative adjective, it points out which noun is being talked about. So the statement says, this is my book. Here, this points out that this specific book is being talked about. Or those apples are rotten. So those specific apples are being talked about. So they demonstrate, they point out which noun is being talked about. Then interrogative adjective. So you know all know what interrogation is. Interrogation is be asking questions. So interrogative adjectives are used in asking questions. So if the question, there could be a question, which road leads to Jaipur? So here which is an adjective. Possessive adjective, we had discussed this in our previous lecture as well. Possession shows ownership, shows right. So this is my bag. So this shows the ownership of bag is with me. So this is my bag. Here my is showing possession, relationship or the ownership of the bag. So this is a possessive adjective. Emphasizing or emphasize giving adjectives. They add emphasis on the word or a statement. So she did it with her own hand. So here own is emphasizing her act of doing the thing with her hands. So own hand. So own is an emphasizing adjective. Similarly, exclamatory adjective. It expresses a strong emotion. What a beautiful view. Here, beautiful is expressing a strong emotion. So, what a beautiful view. Here, beautiful represents exclamatory adjective. So, these are the various types of adjectives. Okay. You don't have to remember the types. It just gives you a better understanding of various dimensions of adjectives. So, you have a good understanding of what all comprises an adjective. Now, degrees of adjective. So there are three degrees of adjective. First, the positive. It talks about one thing and there is no comparison. So if the statement is Ravi is tall, here tall is an adjective and tall is showing no comparison, no nothing. So it's the positive degree. Base adjective is here tall. Now, the second degree is comparative degree, when two things are being compared. So, the statement is Ravi is taller than Raj. Here, there is a comparison between the heights of Ravi and Raj. So, the word taller, ER, is used to the base adjective, and this becomes the comparative degree of adjective. And then there is superlative degree of adjective, compares more than two and shows the highest degree. So if the statement is Ravi is the tallest in the class, so here the comparison is not just between Ravi and Raj, the comparison is between all the students of class, and we are telling that the Ravi is the tallest, the highest degree. So est is added to the base adjective. So these are the three degrees of adjective: positive, comparative, superlative. Positive is the base adjective, comparative is comparison between two, just add er to the base adjective. Superlative is the highest degree, so just add est to the base adjective and you get the superlative degree of adjective. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now, for shorter adjectives like tall, it becomes tall, taller, tallest. These are the three degrees. Tall is the base, taller is comparative, and tallest is a superlative. Similarly, fast, faster, and fastest. But for longer adjectives like beautiful, for you add more and most for comparative and superlative degrees. So something is more beautiful or something is most beautiful in comparative sense. You don't say something is beautifuler or something is beautifulest. There's no such thing as beautifuler or beautifulest. Similarly, you say something is important. If you want to compare between two things, that A is more important than B, or if you want to use the superlative form, you say A is the most important thing amongst all the alphabets. So you say most important. You don't say important or importantest. There are no such things. So you do not use, also don't use double with this comparative forms. For example, more is already showing the second form, the comparative form. Better again is the comparative form. So you don't use more and better together. Similarly, most is showing the superlative form and smartest also shows the superlative form. So you don't use these double forms together. You don't say most smartest because smartest itself is showing the superlative form. Then why do you have to use twice? So you just use once, the smartest or the most of that thing, most. Okay. And also use either. For example, better or more better or more beautiful and not beautifuler. So be mindful of this. Okay. Now, there's also a lot of confusion between adjectives and adverbs. So, adjectives describe nouns, for example, the people, the place, things, ideas. The adverbs describe the actions, that is, verbs or other adjectives. They are also described by adverbs. So, you use adjectives when you're talking about quality or nature of someone or something. In short, pronoun or noun. So, she is a kind teacher. Here, the teacher is being described. So kind here is an adjective because it is talking about teacher. What is adverb then? We use adverb when we are talking about how something is done. When you are describing the action or the manner of or intensity of an action. So, for example, she teaches kindly. Now, here the word kindly is describing how the teaching is done. Teaching is an action. So, the manner of teaching or maybe the intensity of teaching is being described, that she teaches very kindly. So here the action is being described, while in the previous statement that she is a kind teacher, the teacher was being described. So you see, the teacher is a noun. Teacher is a which type of noun? It's a common noun. So teacher is a noun and the teacher has been described as kind. So the word that describes the teacher is an adjective. And here the word kindly is describing the act of teaching, how she's teaching. So the kindly is adverb. Okay. So if a statement is she is a skillful dancer, here the skillful is being described for she, the dancer. So she, since the dancer is a noun who is being described, so the word skillful here is the adjective. She dances skillfully. Now the act of dancing, the action is being described. So skillfully is adverb. Similarly, Sonu's act was thoughtful. Now the act, Sonu's act has been described as thoughtful. Sonu acted thoughtfully. The way Sonu's actions were done, that is being described as thoughtfully. So that is adverb. How he acted. Or when the quality of act is being described, that was thoughtful. So that was adjective. Okay, I hope the difference between adjective and adverb is quite clear now. Now let's try to do some questions. So fill in the blanks. He gave a very dash reply, a thoughtful reply or a thoughtfully reply. So here the fill in the blank should be filled in a way that we are we are explaining the nature of reply. So he gave a very thoughtful reply. Ria danced so dash that everyone clapped. So we are describing the how Ria danced. So we are describing the dance and not Ria. So she danced so gracefully that everyone clapped. It was a dash sunset. It was a beautifully sunset, or was it a beautiful sunset? Because we are describing the sunset here. So it was a beautiful sunset. He answered the questions dash. He answered the questions correctly. How did he answer the question? Correctly. So we are describing the act of answering the question. How was it that action done correctly? She is a dash singer. She's a wonderful singer. Okay. So we are describing the singer, that is the adjective. Okay. She's a wonderful singer, correctly, very good. So you can see the explanation here. Okay. Now let's move ahead to the rule number 1. So the rule number 1 says that linking verbs take adjectives and not adverb. This is your rule. Some verbs are called linking verbs. They do not show action. Rather, they connect the subject to the quality or state. And hence they don't need adverb. They are usually followed by adjectives. Now we need to first understand what linking verbs are. These verbs tell us what something is or feels like and what not what it does. So some of the common examples of linking verbs are be, become, seem, appear, taste, smell, sound, feel, turn, get, grow, keep, make, prove. So these are the words. They are not really describing what the action, but they are describing a state of something. Okay, let's try to understand it with an example. So if the statement is he feels badly, here the feeling is not an action, feeling is a state. So the here if the word badly is used, it is wrong, because feels is a linking verb. Here no action is being done, a state is being described, a state of his feeling. So he feels bad because no feeling is not an action that is going on, just a state of his feeling. He feels bad. Okay, so these linking words, they describe a state and quality and not the action. So be mindful that when these kind of linking verbs are there, we use adjectives and not adverbs. Okay. Similarly, the food smells deliciously. Now, smell is, again, there is no action going on here. Only the state of food is being described, that how the food is, it's delicious. So the food smells delicious and not deliciously. So we'll use the adjective delicious rather than the adverb deliciously, because smell is the quality of food. It is the state. It is not an action that is going on. Okay. Similarly, she looks happily. So this statement is trying to say that how is she appearing? She looks happily would mean that she's looking here and then happily. No, that's not what is the statement is trying to say. The statement is talking about her appearance. So it is the her state at that time. So whenever we are talking about quality or state, we use adjectives and not adverb. So she looks happy rather than saying she looks happy. That would be wrong. Okay. So let's look at some more examples. In the statement, Mona is happy. The verb is is. Is it a linking word? Yes, because we are talking about the state in which Mona is at this point. Happy is not an action per se, it's the state. So we will use the adjective happy. So Mona is happy is the correct sentence. Let's look at the second sentence. That cake smells nice. Now, smells is a state. It's not an action that is going on here. So, smells is a linking verb. So, with the linking verb, do we use adjective or adverb? We use adjective. So, this adjective nice here is correct. The cake smells nicely would have been wrong, because smells is a linking verb and not a normal verb. And so here is no action going on. Here is a state or quality being described, and hence we use adjective. Similarly, he looks tired. Here, looks is a state, is a appearance is being talked about, and no action of looking is going on. So he looks tired. So looks here is the linking verb, and with linking verb we use adjective. So he looks tired is a correct statement. She sounded angry. Again, sounded is again a linking verb because it's describing an action, sorry, a quality or a state and not an action. So we will use the adjective angry, and hence this is a correct statement. She sounded angry. If it were to say she sounded angrily, it would have been wrong. because angrily is adverb and sounded is not a normal verb. No, because it's not giving any action oriented meaning. So she sounded angry is correct. The baby looks cutely. What about this one? So here again, we are describing the appearance of the baby, just the state in which the baby is at this point. So there is no action going on. And hence, this is a linking verb. Looks here is a linking verb, and linking verb are followed by adjective and not adverb. So the correct statement would be the baby looks cute. Okay. I hope this is clear now. And if it is clear, you will be able to solve these questions. So pause this at this point. Take two. I mean, I'll wait. I'll pause for 2 seconds, and you try to attempt the questions. Okay. I hope you have solved the questions. So the soup smells good. He became dash after the accident. He became weak after the accident. You look dash in that dress. You look beautiful in that dress. His suggestion sounds reasonable. Because if we are talking about how the suggestion is sounding, it's sounding is not an action going on, it's a linking verb, and hence his suggestion sounds reasonable. I feel dash today, I feel bad today. Okay, so here are the explanation. I hope it's fairly simple now. There's also an exception or another aspect that you might want to know, that when do we use adverb? For example, uh, there is a statement, he feels bad today. So here we are talking about the state and not the action. But if the statement were to say he feels badly about what he said, now the word badly is describing how he's feeling about his actions, emotionally regretting. In this case, feel is more about the verb of sensing. So here, then there is this is not the state. This is about the what he said, his how he's feeling about it. So the context also matters. So I have just told this to you just so to give you another dimension. But for the exam point of view, just try to remember. Do not get confused. Just try to remember that linking verbs take adjectives and not adverbs, and just remember what the linking verbs are. And because linking verbs are take adjectives, why? What they are and why do they do so? Because they are be, become, seem, appear, taste, smell, sound, feel, turn, get, grow, keep, look, make. These words, they represent state or the quality, and that is why they take adjectives and not adverb. Just try to remember that. This exception is just to add to your knowledge. You might just skip it also. Up to you. Now, rule number 2. Certain adjectives cannot be used in comparative or superlative forms because they already describe an absolute or extreme state. That is, you can't go beyond them. So we can't say something is more perfect or most unique, because the word perfect or unique itself is superlative, and they describe the absolute of their state. So there is no adding more or most, or this would be just redundant. So that is grammatically incorrect. So if something is perfect, that's already 100%. It cannot be more perfect. If something is unique, it's already one of a kind. You can't have more one of a kind thing. So if something is supreme, it can't be more supreme. So it would be incorrect to say this is the most final answer. The final is final. There is no more, most, less, or anything. It's the end. It's the final answer. Okay. So some of the examples of these absolute adjectives are perfect. So you never use these absolute adjectives with more or most, because they are at the extreme end of the spectrum. There is no scope for more or most. And it would be grammatically incorrect to add more or most to these words. These words are used as it is. It is a very commonly occurring mistake. People say this is the most unique thing that I've ever seen, but it is grammatically incorrect. Okay, so just remember these. I mean, these are very common words. You all know them. It's just that we are so used to using more and most with them that we still use it even if we know the meaning, because these are not any difficult words. Okay, so just be mindful that with absolutes we do not use more or most. So perfect itself is 100% complete, flawless. So there is no scope for more or most. Unique, which means one of a kind. So it's one of a kind. There is no scope for more unique, most unique. Chief. The word chief is highest in the rank. So higher chief or chiefest is no such thing like that. Complete. the word itself describes something is fully done. So there is no more complete, less complete, and nothing of that sort is possible. The word impossible, that means there is no possibility after that, cannot happen at all. Or the word eternal, it means forever. So if the word eternal is there, it is like forever. There is no less or more than that. Similarly, the word supreme, it is the topmost, highest level. So there is no most supreme being. So that there is supreme being. So similarly, the word ideal, it already shows the best possible. So there is no best ideal solution or there is no more ideal solution. Similarly, the word absolute, it shows the total, complete, that this is absolute. There is no more absolute, there is no less absolute. Similarly, the adjective entire, it shows whole, nothing is left. Then complete entire or whole entire, no such thing. Entire itself is absolute, it's like complete. Excellent, already of highest quality. So there cannot be more excellent version of anything. If something is excellent, it is already highest. There is no further degree of describing excellent. Similarly, universal. It applies to everything and everyone. So this is the most universal is wrong. Something is universal. Universal itself is absolute, and there is nothing beyond universal. So itself is a superlative, and you cannot make it any further superlative. Okay. So these are the words. Now let's try to see what is wrong in these sentences and correct them. So I'll again pause for 2 seconds and just try to look at these sentences and find what is wrong with them. Okay, so I hope you have solved the questions. Let's look at them. So this is the ideal solution. Ideal here itself is the absolute adjective. So this is the most ideal solution is wrong. This is the ideal solution because ideal itself is absolute. His behavior was more perfect than yours. What is more perfect? I mean, something is perfect is perfect. There is no less, there is no more. Perfect is absolute. So his behavior was perfect. You can't improve on perfection. Can anything be more impossible than this? Like, possible is itself an absolute dead end. So can anything be impossible? Can anything be more difficult? Okay, the impossible, if you want to, can anything be impossible? Is something that can be framed. Something is wrong with the framing of this sentence, but the question is trying to show you that there is no such thing as more impossible. So, yeah, she is the most unique artist in the world. Now, if she is unique, she is unique. Itself is showing that she is one of a kind. There is no such thing as most unique. She is a unique artist. Okay. That was the most extreme reaction. No, something is extreme itself is showing the superlative, the highest degree. That was the extreme reaction. That was an extreme reaction. Okay. So this is your solution. You can have a look at it. Now, rule 3. Some adjectives look like comparatives. So they describe one thing as being more than another, but they do not take than after them. Instead, they are followed by to, and they do not change into more or er forms also. Okay. So if it sounds like a comparison of status, preference, or order and doesn't use more or er, it usually takes to and not than. Now let's see what these adjectives are and then you'll understand what this rule is saying. So the words like prior to, prior will always be followed by to rather than. So this task is prior to that one. This task is prior than that one is wrong. So these words, it's a bit better that you remember these words. They usually reflect a status, preference, or order. So these words are followed by to. Similarly, she is junior to me. She is junior than me is wrong. She is junior to me. She is senior to her in rank. Again, followed by to and not her. Because senior, junior, these are the words people often you follow use this but than. That is wrong. See, she is senior to her in rank. She is junior to me. Superior. This machine is superior to the old one. Similarly, inferior. The plastic is inferior to steel. Similarly, prefer. I prefer tea over coffee. I prefer tea to coffee. So, to. Preferable. Silence is preferable to noise. Elder. My elder brother is wise. Or she's elder to me. So, these are the words. They are followed by to. Okay, just remember them. A lot of time people use these words with than, which is wrong. Okay, let's do some exercises now. He is dash me in rank. He's senior than me in rank. While it might sound correct, it is wrong. He's senior to me in rank. I prefer tea to coffee. This design is superior dash the old one. This design is superior than the old one. No, this design is superior to the old one. The sofa is preferable dash a wooden bench. The sofa is preferable to the wooden bench. My elder brother is 2 years old, sorry, 2 years dash than me. My elder brother is 2 years elder, here than is there, so older than me, because elder to me and older than me. So this was a something that you should pay attention to. Okay. Now, rule number 4. So words like either, neither, only, both, even, but also. These are called modifiers because they emphasize or qualify a particular word or phrase. They should be placed immediately before the word or the idea that they are modifying. So these are the words that make some difference in the what in the word, noun, pronoun that is followed after them. So a wrong placement of these words it completely change the meaning of the sentence. So if we look at this example, we'll understand this better. So the statement says only Ria passed the exam. The word only is a modifier here. So when it is placed in the starting of the sentence just before Ria, this shows that only Ria is the one who has passed the exam and no one else could pass it because only is placed before Ria. Now, if you place only before pass, so Ria only passed the exam. Shows that she only passed it. She only could manage to pass it. She didn't top it. She didn't fail it. But she only managed to pass it. So the word only is a modifier that is modifying the word immediately following it. So you have to be mindful of using these modifiers. So you have to place them exactly before the word that you want to modify. So if you want to talk about only Ria passing the exam, then you place it before Ria. If you want to talk about Ria only passing the exam, then you place it just before pass. So the modifiers are only, it limits or restricts. She only spoke to Ria. That means she only spoke to one person, Ria. Okay. Even, it adds emphasis. He even apologized. So if someone says that he just didn't come to me, he even apologized. So even here is emphasizing on apology. He even apologized. Either or. Its function is to tell one of the two options. So either Ria or Tanu will go. So either or. So you just be mindful of where it is being placed. Similarly, very similar to either or is neither nor. That is none of the two options. So neither Ravi nor Raju came. Both and, it includes two. Both India and China agreed. But also add surprise element or emphasis. Not just talent, but also hard work matters. So you have to see that these words are placed immediately before the word that they want to modify. Okay, so only is very tricky. Rest of the words are very general, so I think you can understand them, but be mindful of only and even kind of thing. Okay, now correct the modifier placement in the following statement. First, you look at the statement and see what these statements are saying, and then you try to understand what is wrong with them and modify them by placing the modifier to the correct position. Okay, I'll pause for a few seconds and you'll do it yourself first. Okay, so let's see. I saw only her. I saw only her yesterday and not anyone else. But the statement is, I only saw her yesterday. So it's not like in the whole day, I only saw her. This is what the statement is saying. But if you place only here after saw, I saw only her yesterday. That that means that I only saw her yesterday. Okay. He even he even invited his enemy. He invited even his enemy. So here the word even his enemy. So the emphasis on his enemy, that even his enemy has been invited. Okay. Both she can paint and draw. This is wrong. She can both paint and draw. So the emphasis is that painting and drawing both can be done by her. Okay. Either you must call or write to her. You must either call or write to her. So the emphasis is that either call her or write her. Don't just think about it. Okay, something of that sort. So you must either call or write rather than saying either you must call or write. This is wrong. She not only speaks English but also writes. She not only speaks English but also writes. This is correct. She not only speaks English but also writes. So here the modifier is placed at the correct position. Now, rule 5. So the rule 5 says that some adjectives like clever, brave, wise, simple, polite, cruel, they can take both the forms. That is the ER form or the more plus adjective form. So such the words such as clever can become cleverer or wise can become wiser, and we can also write them as more clever or more wise. But when we are comparing two qualities of the same person or thing, we must use the more plus adjective form and not the ER form. So let's look at the example and try to understand what this rule is saying. She is cleverer than brave. So here if you are trying to compare the two qualities of that one person, clever and brave, if you want to understand if whether she is more clever or whether she is more brave, we will use the more form of adjective, because if we are saying she is cleverer than brave, it gives an impression that clever people and brave people are being compared rather than two qualities of that one person being compared. So her cleverness is being compared to her own braveness rather than clever people being compared to brave people. So, in order to avoid this confusion, when two qualities of the same person are compared, more plus adjective form of adjective is used. So, she is more clever than brave. Similarly, his speech was wiser than powerful. So, this is incorrect because it looks like that wise and the powerfuls are being compared. But his speech was more wise than powerful. Which element was dominant? More of wise than powerful, because the comparison is between the wisdom in the speech and the power in the speech. Similarly, Ravi is more honest than polite. So whether the level of honesty is higher or the politeness is higher. Honesty is higher. So he is more honest than polite. So when we are comparing the same traits in one person, we use more plus adjective form. So more honest than polite rather than honester than polite or wiser than polite. We say more wise than powerful or more honest than polite. Okay, honester is anyway not a word. Now, pick the correct statement. She is dash than brave. She is cleverer than brave or she is more clever than brave? She is more clever than brave because we are comparing her cleverness and her bravery. So, two qualities in the same person, when compared, we use more plus adjective form. Okay. The man was dash then friendly. So man was wise or more wise, because the two qualities of the man, his wisdom and his friendliness, are being compared. So the man was more wise than friendly. So the level of wisdom was higher than the level of friendliness. So his writing is dash than interesting. His writing is more simple than interesting. So the simplicity in the writing is higher as compared to the it being an interesting thing. So simpler is wrong. You don't say simpler than interesting. He is intelligenter than confident. Does it sound like a statement? There is no such thing as intelligenter anyway. So there is no scope of confusion in this. His nature is dash than bold. His nature is more polite than bold because the level of politeness is higher than boldness. Same qualities of, two qualities of the same person when being described, we use more plus adjective rather than ER form of adjective. His nature is politer. Politer is anyway not a word, but then his nature is politer than bold would be wrong. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Now we get to the rule 6. So when you are using two adjectives to describe the same noun, make sure that both the adjectives are in the same form. Either both are in the positive degree, or both are in the comparative degree, or both are in the superlative degree. So we have discussed what are the three degrees. The positive degree is the basic form, like we discussed, Ravi is tall. The comparative degree is the comparison between two things, that is, Ravi is taller than Raj. So here ER is used, and the superlative degree is the highest degree when comparison is being made in more than two. So EST is added. So Ravi is the tallest one in the class. So these are the three degrees. So when you're using two adjectives to describe the same noun, both adjectives should be in the same form. Mixing degrees is grammatically incorrect. So the statement is, she is smarter and wise. Here the word smarter is in the comparative degree and the word wise is in the positive degree. So it is incorrect. The correct sentence would be, she is smarter and wiser. Both should be in comparative degree. In the statement, this is the most interesting and fun movie. It is incorrect. So this is the most interesting and most fun movie. Both should be in the superlative form. Then it will become correct. Now, correct the sentences. Take a pause. I'll take a pause and you pause the video and correct the sentences. This is very simple, barely 10 seconds exercise. Okay. So she is more hardworking and sincere. She's more hardworking and more sincere. She is the most elegant and she is the most elegant and stylish. Sorry, this is the. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the most elegant and stylish gown. This is the most elegant and most stylish gown. He is clever and more helpful. He's more clever and more helpful. The boy is taller and smarter because they both have to be in the comparative form. Ria is the best and kind. Ria is the best and kind girl in the class. Ria is the best and the most kind girl in the class because they both and the kindest. Sorry, my bad. Ria is the best and the and the kindest girl in the class. Both have to be in the superlative degree. Okay. So she's more hardworking and more sincere. She's most elegant and more stylish. He's clever and helpful, or more clever, more helpful. Both are correct. The boy is taller and smarter. Ria is the best and the kindest girl in the class. So, so now another practice exercise. She is more wiser than her brother. You have to find the part that contains the error. So, is it the error is in she is, or more wiser, or than her brother, or there are no error? So I'll again pause for 2 seconds. You can pause the video here and solve the question. Okay. So I think in this, it's fairly simple. The error is in option B. She is more wiser than her brother because the correct one should be she's wiser than her brother. There's no need to use more here. He's senior than me in both age and experience. We have already discussed this. It should be so the error is in the part B. He is senior to me in both age and experience. Question third. This is the most unique sculpture I have ever seen. We have again discussed this. Unique itself is an absolute adjective and there is no such thing as most unique. So the option B, the most unique, is the part that contains error. This is a unique sculpture. Okay. He is more intelligent and brave than his cousin. So we are describing the quality of two qualities of the same person. So he is more intelligent and uh, uh, he's more intelligent than brave. Okay. He's more brave and more intelligent than his cousin. Okay. He's more brave and more intelligent than his cousin. So B is the part that contains error. Even I got confused. Okay. The little milk that was left in the cup was spilled. So which part has error? The little milk that was left in the cup was spilled. Okay, I don't see any error in this one. Yeah, there is no error. The little here means not much but all. So this is correct. Rest of it is correct. Okay. So okay. Now we get to the rule 7. When you use the word times, like 2 times, 3 times, many times, the word times, to compare, you use the positive degree of the adjective and not the comparative degree. By now, we are aware of what the 3 degrees are: positive, comparative, and superlative. Because the word times already shows how much more. So, there is no need to say more or bigger, more heavier, etc. So, now let's look at the example to better understand this rule. So the statement, this room is 3 times as big as that one. Here the word times is already there, so we don't need to say 3 times as bigger as 3 times bigger than this one. So we just say 3 times as big as that one or this one. So when the word times is used, we say as something as this. So the tree is 5 times as tall as a man. That would be the correct way to say, and not 5 times taller as taller as a man. That would be wrong. Because whenever the word times is used, we always use the positive degree and not the comparative degree. This room is 3 times bigger than 1. So here the word bigger is a comparative degree word. So when the times word has been used, we will use the positive degree. So this room is 3 times as big as that one. The box is 2 times heavier than mine. So here again, the word times is used, so we cannot use the comparative degree. We have to use the positive degree. This box is 2 times as heavy as mine. This my book is 3 times as cheap as yours. So we will not say my book is 3 times cheaper than your. My book is 3 times as cheap as your. Your income is many times higher than Tushar's. Again, the word higher is comparative degree, hence incorrect because the word times has been used. So your income is many times as high as than Tushar's. Okay. So whenever the word times is there, you will use positive degree and not the comparative degree. Remember this. But when the word times is not used, use comparative degree. Simple. The room is bigger than that one. This room is bigger than that one. This box is heavier than mine. So here times is not used. You use the comparative degree. Here we need bigger or heavier to show the comparison because no word, no times is used here. This book is 5 rupees cheaper than yours. Again, no times is used. So we use the super comparative degree cheaper. This table is 10 kilos lighter than that. So again, here since time word the word time is not used, we will use the comparative degree lighter. So that would be the correct form. So how can we summarize this rule? With times use positive degree. The bag is 2 times as heavy as that one. It's as heavy as that one. Okay, just add as there. And without times comparative degree, this bag is heavier than that one. Okay, so this is the rule 7. Now let's exercise this rule. Use positive or comparative degree depending upon the sentence. So again, pause for 2 seconds and try to solve this exercise and then we'll do it together. Okay, now let's see what the correct answers are. So this statue is dash than that one. So this statue is taller than that one or the statue is 2 times tall. Oh, so the statue is 2 times tall because times is used, so you use positive. Oh, sorry. So because the times is used, you use positive degree. So this statue is 2 times tall than that one, not taller. My phone is dash as yours. My phone is 2 times. My phone is cheaper. My phone is 2 times cheap as yours. So 2 times is used, so use positive degree. 2 times cheap. God, what is happening? I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, my phone is 2 times as cheap as yours. This sofa is more comfortable than that chair, or the sofa is 4 times comfortable than that chair. The sofa is more comfortable because no times is here used here, so comparative degree. The sofa is more comfortable than yours. Her bag is 3 times heavy than mine, or her bag is heavier than mine. Her bag is 3 times heavy. So word times is used, so use the positive degree. Array, something is wrong. I'm so sorry, guys. So now we're looking at the fifth statement. The new bridge is longer as the old bridge, or the new bridge is 5 times long as the old bridge. So the new bridge is 5 times as long as the old one. This shirt is 2 times expensive than that one. This shirt is 2 times as expensive as that one, or more expensive than that one. The shirt is 2 times as expensive as that one or more expensive than that one. So if you're using times, you will say more expensive. Sorry, if you're not using time, then you'll say more expensive. If you're using time, then as 2 times as expensive as that one. My computer is 4 times as fast as yours. This house is 3 times as big. This house is bigger than the other one. Okay, 3 times big. This house is bigger, 3 times big than the other one. So it's 3 times as big as the other one. Okay, now the rule number 7. Let's see what does this rule say. So according to this rule, when you use the word times, like 2 times, 3 times, many times to compare, you use the positive degree of the adjective and not the comparative degree. Because the word times already shows how much more. So no need to say more bigger or more heavier. So first we need to understand what the positive degree or the comparative degree of adjective is. We did that in the starting itself. There are 3 degrees of adjective: the positive degree, the comparative degree, and the superlative degree. The positive degree is the base adjective. For example, the word tall. The comparative degree shows comparison between two people or two things. For example, the word taller. It is done by adding the word er to the base adjective. And the superlative degree is the highest of the adjective when the comparison is made in more than two people or things. So for the word taller, the word tallest will be the superlative form. It is done by adding est to the base adjective. So tall, taller, tallest. Positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Now, these are the degree of adjectives. Now, let's see what does the rule say. So, if you come across the word times in a statement, just be sure to use the positive degree of adjective there. So, there should be no er, no est in that adjective. Because the word times is already giving you the comparison. It is already showing that this is 3 times, 4 times bigger, big. So, using the bigger word along with times will be redundant and hence grammatically incorrect. Only one indicator is enough to show the comparison. So you don't have to make the adjective also an indicator of the comparison. Okay. Now let's try to understand this with some examples. So if there is a statement that says this room is 3 times as big as that. Now why is this correct? Because the word times is there. So we just use the positive degree of the adjective big. We don't need to say that this room is 3 times as bigger as that one, because 3 times is already telling it's bigger. We don't have to say bigger again to make it sound big. So when times is there, that is already showing comparison. So you use the positive degree of adjective. Okay. Just locate if the word time is there or not. If it is there, then you use the positive degree of adjective. That is all this point is. Plain and simple. So in the statement, the tree is 5 times as tall as a man. This is correct. Why? Because the word taller would show a comparative degree and the word tall is the positive degree. And the word 5 times is already giving us the comparison. So we don't need to say taller. Tall is fair enough. Okay. Now in the statement, this room is 3 times bigger than that one. What is wrong? But the wrong thing is that the word times, 3 times is already telling that it is bigger, 3 times. So we don't have to say bigger. The word 3 times is already doing that job. So whenever the times is used, you will always use the positive degree of adjective. The room is 3 times as big as that one. The box is 2 times heavier than mine. So the word 2 times is already telling that it is there is more heaviness in this box. So you don't have to make it heavier. You have to keep it heavy. So you don't have to use the positive degree of the adjective heavy. The box is 2 times as heavy as mine. My book is 3 times as cheap as yours. Here the adjective is cheap and the degree of adjective is positive. So the statement is correct because 3 times is already telling that there is a difference in cheapness and hence it is already giving the comparison. So for the adjective, you let it be the positive degree of adjective. Okay. Your income is many times higher than Tushar's. Again, higher is the comparative form of adjective. And when times is mentioned, we use the positive form of adjective. So the statement is correct. Your income is many times as high as Tushar's. Okay, that would be the correct statement. Now, it's obvious that when times is not used and there is a comparison, then you use the comparative degree. So this room is bigger than that one. Here the word times is not there to indicate the comparison. So the adjective will have to be in comparative degree. The box is heavier than mine because there is no use of word times here to give you the comparison. So this book is 5 rupees cheaper than yours. Again, this is correct because the word times is not present here. So for the comparison, we will use comparative degree of adjective. The table is 10 kilos lighter than that. So the adjective lighter, which is the comparative form of the adjective light, has been used because there is no mention of the word times here. So in that case, we will use the comparative degree of adjective. So I hope you've understood this. So this is plain and simple. When you see the word times In a statement, you will use positive degree of the adjective. When you see, when you don't see the word times in the statement and some comparison has been made, you will use the comparative degree of adjective. Okay, that sounds simple. Okay, it does sound simple. Let's try to solve these questions and see if we have really understood the rule or not. So you have to read each of the sentences carefully and identify the part with an error, if any. Again, I'll ask you to pause the video at this point and try to do these questions on your own. If you manage to do these questions, you can fairly assume that at this point you've understood the rule. And if you have not, you will eventually understand while solving the question. So either way, please do solve these questions and I'll pause for you for 4 seconds and then we'll do the questions together. Okay. Now let's look at these questions and try to solve them together. So the first statement says this laptop is 2 times faster than that one. I think it's correct. What do you think? It sounds correct. I mean, we often use this kind of language, don't we? No. If you have read and understood the previous rule, you do understand the word times is present. So it is showing the comparison. We don't need to use the comparative form of the adjective fast here. The adjective here is fast and the form that has been used in the sentence is comparative. But we know when the word times is present, we use the positive form of adjective. So here the word faster is wrong. So the correct statement would be this laptop is 2 times as fast as that one and not 2 times faster than that one. Okay. So the second statement, this tree is 5 times as tall as the pole. Now the word times is there and we just check the degree of adjective, which is positive. It is not comparative. So it is fine. This tree is 5 times as tall as the pole. This is correct. Statement 3, my house is 3 times bigger than yours. Abhi, when 3 times has been mentioned, why to use the comparative degree bigger? The adjective bigger is wrong. My house is 3 times as big as yours. The correct statement would be this. Statement 4, this table is lighter than that one by 1 kilo. Now in this statement, do you spot the word times? No, since the word times has not been there and the comparison has been made. So the usage of the comparative degree of adjective lighter is correct because the light is the positive degree, lighter is the comparative degree, lightest is the superlative degree. So here the comparison has been made and no times word has been mentioned. So we will use the comparative degree of the adjective lighter. So this is correct. This table is lighter than that one by kilos. You understand this now because the word times has not been used. Okay. Statement 5. Your phone is 4 times as expensive as mine. What do you think? Is this correct? Here again the word times has been used and the word expensive is in its positive degree. So the statement 5 is also correct. Your phone is 4 times as expensive as mine. Statement 6. Her salary is many times higher than his assistant's. We did a similar statement in the previous slide. Her salary is many times because the word times has been used. So we will use the positive degree of the adjective high and not higher. So her salary is many times as high as her assistant's. Statement 7. The story is more interesting than the last one. So there is no word times here. So in order to make the comparison, the statement is correct. The story is more interesting than the last one. More interesting is the comparative form of the adjective interesting. Interesting, more interesting, most interesting. So there are 2 ways to go to make the degree for the like reflecting 3 degrees of the adjective. So here the more interesting is the comparative form of word adjective interesting. Okay. Statement 8. My car is 3 times as cheap as yours. We see the word times and we use the positive degree of the adjective cheap. So this is again correct. My car is 3 times as cheap as yours. And not if the word cheaper had been used, it would have been wrong. But since the positive degree of the adjective has been used, it is correct. Similarly, this road is 5 times narrower than that one. Now you know. I hope I really don't need to tell this one. Do I? Okay. Anyway, it's the last one, so we'll solve this. This road is 5 times because the times is there, so we will use the positive degree. So we will say narrow and not narrower. Anyway, here is the detailed solution. Go through it, and I hope by now you have clarity about how to use adjectives. And with this, we have come to the end of our slide. And with the at the end, I would like to leave you with this thought. If the words are the dress of thoughts, and then the adjectives are the embroidery. Okay? Just think over it and just try to think what it means. And if you understand it, I think you have understood what adjectives are. Thank you.